Oh shit, here we go again. It's this sounds favorites. I don't know why, but I really needed to do favorites. As I need to get this out of the way, honestly. You would technically be surprised to see which ones are actually on this one, so it's off again with an honorable mention. Episode 7 of Season 3, Kraken. To be honest, I actually like Kraken. I feel like the premise of it is really good. Once again, it took place out at sea, and it was a good idea. The CGI, while technically not the best, it wasn't the worst. And the ending was kind of really eerie with the giant eye looking at the cameraman. However, the reason why it didn't even make it is that, honestly, only one person technically survived. Which I never know, and honestly it never really specified if there was actual treasure or not. 3 comes to Megaconda. Honestly, this is one of my most viewed. This is the episode of Lost Tapes which I watched a lot. And I mean a lot. And it has some of the best CGI quality in my opinion. With the giant snake. Honestly, the reason why it's number 3 is that another episode did outbeat it in its quality. I like how it gave facts about anacondas as well, which is a good thing. But hey, why can't we have more stuff like it? The episode does take place in a special and unique area, a warehouse full of exotic animals. I feel like the actual threat of the thing is also not as threatening as Chupacabra, but not as docile as something like Mottery. And it's honestly just interesting how the ending, that the owner of said warehouse is killed. So yeah, number 3 goes to Megaconda. Number 2, we have my favorite Season 3 episode, Poltergeist. And this one really hits me home. I feel like I have experienced personal activity of ghosts. Like I even know a poltergeist. Like he's in the room with me right now. Spooky. But this really does hammer home about the idea of the noisy spirit, aka, which is the official name, which is German for poltergeist. Well, it's technically backwards, but honestly, the reason why it's number 2 is that it has one of the best ideas. First starting off with psychokinesis and all that, before eventually leading up with a kid named Troy. We think that Troy would basically be the main character, but then we get these 3 paranormal activities group, well technically speaking, psychokinesis and child control, as I call them. And honestly, this is the best that they can do with the Season 3 idea of Agents style. Again, they did really close with zombies, but something like Poltergeist would have been much better. Again, it takes place in a home, and we learn that this Poltergeist is actually a killer. So yeah, number 3, well technically number 2 goes to Poltergeist. And number 1, in my opinion, my favorite episode of Lost Tapes. Now, before we start, this was the episode that got me into the Lost Tapes franchise as a whole. And spoilers, this is the Season 1 finale episode. And to those who haven't watched Lost Tapes, you won't know. But for those who do, you clearly know what the final episode of Season 1 is. That's right, at number 1, we have Hellhound. Yep, this was the first ever Lost Tapes episode that got me into the franchise. the season 1's final episode. To be honest, the idea of the episode was amazing on paper. It took us into, again, another new area. This time, a graveyard. And we get a bit more about the Hellhound. Like how it leaves sulfur behind when it walks. I like how they explore that it's basically the gatekeeper. And then heck, they even bring up the Cerberus as well. As you can see on screen, it makes a good idea of the Hellhound's abilities. And honestly, I feel like Hellhound is truly my favorite episode. Because A, this was the first Lost Tapes episode I ever watched. Yes, this was the very first Lost Tapes episode. And 2, the ending. For Hellhound, that this ending is truly something that keeps me up during the night when I think about the ending. Whenever I think about Black Dogs, I think of this episode alone. It's honestly a good episode, but at the end of the episode, or near the end of the tape, basically we get an ominous message.
There are no official records of Honora Callerman being registered at the university.
The idea of that final part of the tape is goddamn terrifying. What started off as a goth prank ended off in one of the most mysterious ends for Lost Tapes Season 1. That one of the main characters didn't even exist. And it leaves the question, do they live among us?